I'm Luke Baker from LMB Industries. We've been getting a lot of phone calls from our clients here asking about the NBN and how it actually works. A lot of them are concerned that it's going to affect them, they don't know how it's going to affect them, they don't even know how it works. So I thought I'd put together this video and just explain to you all very basically how the NBN works. Now we're specifically talking about the fibre to the node technology here because that's what we're dealing with most with our clients, and it's also what the majority of the country is going to have. So first I'm going to explain to you how your telephone line gets to your house at the moment. Then I'll move on to talk about the NBN fibre to the node technology and its layout. So we've got a few elements to talk about first. The first one is the exchange. So that's the Telstra exchange, and that's where all the cabling originates from in each area. Then we have the pillar. Now they're a round cylindrical tower type object that's out in the street, and that's where all the cables terminate in. So the cables from the exchange terminate there, and the cables out to your premises terminate inside there, and it's just a location where changes can be made quickly and easily so that services can be brought to your house. Now then we've got obviously the customer area over here with houses and businesses and your apartments and whatnot. So first of all, the main cables come from the exchange, main copper cables come out and connect into your pillar. Now there's usually joins in these inside a pit that's right nearby, and this join will connect to another cable that goes off to another pillar in another street and continues on like that. And that's how it's distributed out to all these pillars. From the pillar you'll then have another cable that goes out, and it's usually got a join as well, and it goes off and it might go into another joint, and this joint has a cable that goes across the street to feed those houses, another cable that heads down this street into another joint, and then it'll have individual cables that then connect up to your property like that. So that's currently how your telephone service gets to your property. Now if you're in a NBN area, a fibre to the node area that's active or that is being built, you'll start noticing these green boxes appearing, and they're usually appearing right near the pillars, or within a couple of 100 metres of these pillars. Now these are what's called a node, hence the fibre to the node terminology. Now this fibre to the node, like the name suggests, it actually has a fibre optic cable all the way to the node instead of these copper cables. Now funnily enough, these fibre optic cables most of the time are originating from the exchange also. So you have a fibre optic cable that comes out, connects into the node. So what that does is takes out this cable here basically. So your main copper cables that go out to your pillar, this fibre optic cable replaces them to the node. But then we need to get from the node to the pillar so that we can connect to the customer network over here. So we have copper cables come out of the node and go into the pillar. So now we have a connection point that we can easily connect onto the customer network and connect you up to the NBN network. So around about 18 months after the NBN is connected in your area, these main copper cables will be disconnected. So they'll be disconnected all the way to the pillar. So if you haven't migrated to the NBN in around about 18 months once it's activated, you'll be left without a connection back to the exchange. That's the reason why people will have to migrate sooner or later over to the NBN. So there's been a few problems with people migrating already. Some of the early adopters have been losing their services for up to 3 weeks. Now where that's falling over, I don't know. It's falling over somewhere between their service provider and NBN and the connections here, or the software back here, or somewhere else. I don't know where it's falling over, but somewhere along those lines it's falling over. Now we are recommending to all our clients to migrate to the NBN sooner rather than later. If you can imagine that in 18 months time, when the majority of people are trying to then connect to the NBN because they've been waiting, and there are these problems still going on between the service providers and NBN, wherever the problem lies, and everybody's trying to connect all at once, then all of a sudden a 1 or 2 week loss of service could expand to, who knows how long. So we suggest get it over and done with as soon as possible. That way, if you have a problem, then it's going to be fixed sooner rather than later. Now, the majority of people that have been migrating to the NBN have been doing so without problems. It's been instant, not a problem at all. There are only a very small percentage of people who have been having these issues. Hopefully soon enough, there won't be any issues at all. It'll all be sorted out. They've worked their way through it, and it'll be painless for everybody. But just in case, I'd be switching over sooner rather than later. So that's how it works out in the street. Now, once it gets into your house, there are some issues with your internal cabling that need to be addressed. A, if you want your phone line to work throughout the whole entire house, and B, if you want to make the most of your NBN connection. So I'll rub all this out and then I'll explain to you what you need to do inside your house. Okay, so now I'm going to explain to you how the NBN is going to affect the cabling inside your house and how you can maximise your internet connection. So first of all, I'll go through once again how the existing cabling works inside your house. So cable comes from the street, and if your house is under 20 or 30 years, normally there's a box on the outside of your house, somewhere near your switchboard, and that's where the underground cable comes in and terminates to the cables that then head into your house. So if this is the box on the outside, cable comes in, goes to an outlet inside your house, say the kitchen perhaps. It's a common place for the first phone outlet. So one goes into the kitchen, and then from there your cabling loops off to other outlets. So you might have another one in your office or study, another one in the bedroom, and another one in the lounge. Now that's one way, so that's the loop in, loop out method. Another way that it could be done is it could be what's called a star topology, so it could go from the box, one cable out to there, another cable to that one, another cable to that one, another cable to that one. So it could be a star topology like that. Either or, doesn't matter. It could even be a combination of both. So instead of all the cables originating from here, it might loop to that one, then from here you got 2 separate cables out to these other areas. Now, the way that NBN works is it's a completely different technology to ADSL or your normal telephone line that you currently have. Now, the technology that we are using now with the NBN is VDSL. Now, the actual telephone line for VDSL is more of a IP-based service as opposed to your old telephone service, which was basically powered from the exchange all the way out to your phones. Now, the telephone signal for VDSL actually comes out of the back of the modem, and it runs on a technology called SIP technology, which stands for Session Initiated Protocol, which, like I said, is more of an IP internet-based technology. So to get all of these, if you've got a phone in all these other areas and you go and get the NBN and you plug your modem in here, for example, all of a sudden your phone here, and here isn't going to work because your new phone service is actually coming out of the back of your modem. So a lot of our customers are being told by salespeople that their phones in these other areas will not work. You can only have a phone out of the back of the modem, and that's the only place a phone will work. It's absolute rubbish. We've had that told to us by many of our clients. We've gone out to our customers' houses, we've changed their wiring around, and we've managed to get every single phone working in every single property we've been to so far. So far we've had no problems with older telephones and the compatibility. So, that's not to say that some phones won't be compatible with this technology, but so far we've had not a single problem at all. So we can make any any phone anywhere in your house work again, and all through the house, not just one phone out the back of the modem. So I'll rub this out again and I'll explain to you exactly how we make that work. Okay, so to get the phones working throughout the rest of your house, and also to maximise your internet connection, we need to change the way that your house is actually wired. Now that might sound like a big job, it might sound like running new cables. Every single one of our clients that we've gone out to help with this problem, we've managed to do without running any extra cables whatsoever. And generally it's only cost our clients around $120. So it is a simple, easy fix. You just need to get somebody that knows exactly what they're doing, and make sure that any cabler that you do come out to make these changes has a license and is registered to do it. Now you can check that out on the ACMA website, so that's the Australian Communications and Media Authority. They're the guys that regulate the communications industry. So make sure, before your cabler does any work in your house, make sure that they are registered and have an ACMA license. So again, we've got the cable coming in from the street, and it either goes straight to an outlet in your house, or if it's a newish house, it'll be a box on the wall outside your house. Now the cable will then come in to your first point, and if this is where you want your modem, then what we need to do is completely disconnect the rest of the cabling in your house. So this, you have an outlet on the wall that is purely the cable that goes out to the street, or coming from the street, whichever way you want to look at it. Okay, so then if this is where we're going to place the modem, then we put another outlet on the wall here, on the same plate as this one here, and you have this one here is the cable out to the street, and this one here is the cable that goes off to the rest of your house, to all your other outlets. Now remember, I said earlier it can either be in this loop in, loop out fashion, or the star topology. It doesn't matter how that's done, it just matters that we make this break in the cabling here. So the cabling inside your house needs to be completely separate to the cabling to the street. So now you connect the outlet that comes from the street into your modem, into the DSL port, and if your service is active and connected, it'll all sync up and it'll be working. Then what you need to do is run a lead from the phone port, which is at the back of the modem. So a completely separate lead from the phone port into this new outlet that feeds the rest of the house, and then all of these outlets will now have that phone service at those outlets. So it's relatively easy. Generally speaking, all we need to do is change the cabling around at one point, which is just adding a second outlet on the wall, disconnecting the cables that go to the rest of your house from the cable that goes to the street, putting it on its own separate outlet, adding another lead, and all of a sudden all the phones work in your house as well. Now this is also beneficial for maximising your internet connection as well, because the new technology with fibre to the node, VDSL, it doesn't like having all of these extra little loops in the cable, especially in a star topology, because the signal goes into these other little loops and just reflects around, bounces, and it causes a lot of noise and problems, and it will destabilize your connection. So regardless of whether you're going to have phone lines all throughout your house, or you only want the internet and you're going to use mobiles, you do need to make this separation between the cabling throughout your house and what goes to the street. Okay, so I hope all that information has helped you all understand the NBN and fibre to the node technology a lot better. If you have any more questions, please feel free to get in touch with us. Go to our website, www.lmbindustries.com.au. Check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/lmbindustries. Email us at contact@lmbindustries.com.au, or give us a call on 0741547459, and we can answer any questions that you might have about the NBN or any of our other products that we sell. I can promise you that we are a lot better at answering technical questions and installing our equipment than we are at drawing. Thanks.